So today I've got my hat on, I've got a different set of glasses on, and I've got my air pistol out because we're going to discuss some of the gear that is used in Olympic pistol shooting. And the first thing I'm going to start with is the air pistol itself, because there seems to be a lot of misconceptions about these guns in general. First off, these guns do not cost $20,000 like some people think. The top of the line air pistols that are being used by the people winning the Olympics cost about $2,400 to $2,500. Now, yes, that is a lot of money compared to a regular firearm, and especially for an air gun. But relative to other pistol sports out there, if you were to get in 1911, for example, that is as accurate as one of these air pistols, you're going to be paying somewhere in the ballpark of $3,000 to $5,000 minimum. And you have to remember that these use .177 air pellets. You can get a pack of 500 match grade air pellets for about $13 on Amazon, have it shipped directly to your door the very next day. That 1911 chambered in .45 auto is going to run you about $300 to $400 for 500 rounds of match grade .45 auto. So when you look at the value proposition there, Olympic air pistol shooting is one of the most accessible sports that you can get equipment for that can be taken all the way to the top. And of course, not all air pistols cost $2,400, $2,500. That's just the very top end stuff. This particular air pistol here is the model that holds the record for 10-meter air pistols set back in 2009, and I picked it up for $1,500. There are older models that are maybe not as advanced as some of the newer models, but they're still just as accurate. They can be had for well under $1,000. And again, all you have to do is feed it those cheap air pellets and feed it some air. When it comes to the actual functionality of these pistols and the accuracy and the capability of them, these air pistols are all exceedingly accurate. The standard of accuracy is essentially that they have to put that air pellet through the same hole like 10 times before they leave the factory. The regulations also stipulate that the triggers have to be a minimum of 500 grams. The regulations stipulate how long the barrels can be, how much they can weigh, how long the distance is from the rear sight to the front sight. That's the sight radius. They also stipulate what can be done with the grips. The grips cannot encapsulate your hand. They can be orthopedic and shaped to the human hand, but they cannot encapsulate your hand, nor can any part of the grip touch your wrist or forearm. So with that said, all of the athletes are competing with pistols that can accomplish the exact same level of accuracy. It is totally fair on that front, and the reason why you see different pistols is mainly due to shooter preference as well as usually sponsorships and stuff like that. Now, the other thing that you're going to see that often gets a lot of ridicule is the blinders and the shooting glasses and stuff like that. Well, the blinder is very simple. So you have two types of blinders. Usually you have a blinder to cover your non-dominant eye, and then you also have blinders that cover the sides of your glasses. The one that covers your non-shooting eye is very simple to explain. The only eye that gives you any information that is relevant to shooting accurately is going to be the eye that is centered behind the sights. Your other eye is just there. For some shooters, it can be very distracting, especially if you are cross-eye dominant, that is, a right-handed shooter with a left eye dominance. So to fix that issue, you either close that eye, which is not, in my opinion, a very good strategy over a long period of time. The other option is to flip a blinder in front of it. This blocks the input of this eye as far as aligning the sights and pulling the trigger goes. Some shooters, of course, can shoot without it, but for many shooters, they do find this to be an advantage, including myself. Now, the point of the side blinders are very simple. It's basically to just help you focus on what's in front of you and kind of cut out any sort of distracting things that may be occurring to the left or right of you. The other thing is shooting glasses. So I am wearing a separate set of glasses because this particular set of glasses, for whatever reason, gives me a slightly sharper image of my sights than my other pair of glasses that I wear normally. And that is essentially what people are trying to achieve when they are wearing special prescription glasses for shooting. The thing about it is they use these weird frames that are essentially infinitely adjustable, and that's why they have those circular lenses. And those circular lenses are not like a zoom lens or anything like that. All it's doing is usually, especially for older shooters, is it's giving them a plus diopter prescription, which helps them focus close in. So as you get older, your eye gets a little bit less flexible and you have less ability to focus on nearby objects. It's the same reason why you have to wear reading glasses when you get older, and that is mainly the reason why you see people wearing those lenses, is because it helps them see near objects. They are farsighted. And even with a shooter like Yusuf Dikec, he used to not wear glasses. Now he wears a prescription set of glasses, and I'm pretty sure that prescription set of glasses probably has like a plus 0.5 diopter prescription on it, or maybe it's just a set of regular reading glasses, and that helps him bring the front sight focus into sharper clarity as he's aiming. And the other thing is, because he probably doesn't have a very strong prescription, it's not as important for his eye to be perfectly centered behind the optical center of the lens. If you have a very strong prescription like I do, it's extremely important that your eye is centered in the optical center of the lens, or it'll cause distortions when you look at the front sight. So for example, if I look through the side of my lens here, not only will my front sight appear kind of skewed, it'll also kind of appear curved like this, and that is not a good sight picture. I have to make sure that my eyes are perfectly centered through the optical center behind the sights. And that's why when you look at someone like Damir Mikec, who uses those special wireframes that allows them to infinitely adjust the location and position of that lens in front of their eye for their head position and how they hold the gun and the way they stand and the way they align the gun, that is because he probably has a stronger prescription, and it's more important that he has to have his eye perfectly centered in the optical center of the lens. The other thing that you're going to see, and people are always confused about, are it looks almost like they're wearing two blinders on both eyes, but what they're actually wearing is an adjustable iris. As you look through a narrower pupil, you're going to increase the depth of field, which is the amount of space that is in focus at any given time. And the same thing applies with both cameras and the human eye. If you decrease the size of the aperture, you increase the depth of field, the target becomes more in focus, the rear sight becomes more in focus. As you increase the size of the aperture, your depth of field decreases, and objects behind the object that you're focusing on becomes more out of focus, and objects in the foreground become more out of focus. The adjustable iris can be seen as advantageous for some shooters, but I don't think most shooters use them, and it has a sort of trade-off in that, yes, it does kind of increase your depth of field, but at the same time, it means less light is reaching your eye, causing your eye to naturally dilate, which then decreases your depth of field. So it is a weird trade-off, and you're going to have to essentially use it a lot to determine whether or not you like it. I have not put in the reps with an adjustable iris to know whether or not I like it. Other than that, the only piece of gear that isn't being talked about by the media is below the waist. So in pistol shooting internationally, they actually regulate the type of shoes that you can wear. They cannot extend above the ankle. They cannot provide you any ankle support. And there are actually shoes out there designed specifically or marketed towards international style pistol shooters. Many athletes in the Olympics are using them. I would say probably most are using those shooting specific shoes just because they provide a nice flat, wide base, and you're standing on a perfectly flat surface. It helps you be more stable, but again, they don't provide any ankle support. Pistol shooting comes down to the shooter, the gun, and the target. The headgear, the blinders, the lenses, the apertures, the shoes, none of this is directly performance enhancing, or else you would see every single shooter using it on the line. And as we all know, not every shooter uses this gear. A perfect example of this are the orthopedic grips. The orthopedic grips do support your hand in such a way that gives you a distinct performance enhancement when it comes to shooting a pistol. You could choose to not use these, but you would be putting yourself at a disadvantage. And so pretty much every Olympic athlete uses some form of orthopedic grip. Now, I know I had just a brief overview of the air pistol. I'm going to make a full video here soon, kind of looking in depth of what makes up an air pistol, particularly this one. And if you liked this video and you like the discussion about international shooting sports or bullseye competition or bullseye pistol shooting, I have plenty of videos right here that you can watch that also talk about the subject, and you might like those too. In any case, thank you for watching. Thank you to my channel members for supporting the channel directly. You too can become a channel member by hitting the join button next to the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Have a great one. See you in the next one.